Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and ain't a thing you can do about it. Today with Coffee with Curry, I'm doing it solo. Listen, in 2 days, we will be voting. In 2 days, we will be selecting the President of the United States. You've heard me and Colby on the source last week. I shared that we're going to pretty much know on the first day. Colby disagreed with me. It's probably going to take several days. And most commentators are saying it's going to take several days for it to happen, which would open up the door for more conspiracy theories. But let me just say this to you. For all of you who are deciding that you're going to sit on the couch, for all of you deciding, well, I don't have to vote, and I want to be clear. I know my reach is beyond just Delaware. You must vote. Please do not be okey-doked by people or by situations. I'm going to take this time today in this show to really share with you the truth of saying some things out loud, but don't mean for it to be heard. And when you hear it, how they misconstrue it and make you feel like you're hearing something crazy and you're being something else. I want this show to be a very strong show to remind us we must vote. Why don't you call somebody real quickly? Tell them Coffee with Curry is on, and let's get after it.
Good morning, Delaware and surrounding areas. You are now tuned in to this week's Coffee with Curry. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. with new guests every week. So grab your cup of coffee and join us on Coffee with Curry.
I promised you that I was going to give you some clips. I was going to give you some opportunity to see the real disrespect. Now, we've heard people say, you know, when you are a woman in America, you're already behind and considered to be less than. We see that quite often. Chauvinism is very real. But to be an African-American woman, it's just been unbelievable, the disrespect. But what I want to really focus your attention on, I want to take you away from just being a woman, being black, just being minority, the level of racism that occurs in America is just unfound. And they're beginning to say the quiet things out loud, the things that's supposed to just stay in their head, and the powers to be to make sure. It is no secret why Elon Musk want to make sure Donald Trump get in. It is no secret why the New York Times decided we're not going to embrace Kamala Harris, which is another minority, to become the president of the United States. It's no secret because the hidden hand of racism is real and is in effect strongly. Now, Trump did his closing argument at Madison Square Garden. Many people thought it was going to be something big, something great, something fantastic. And what he did was he showed us who he is. We already know. It's no surprise to me. But when I heard African-American men are now going to support him, I was appalled. Who are these African-American men who's going to support this racist? Yes, I said it, and I'm going to represent it. I've been watching throughout Delaware now. I'm seeing more Trump signs and flags than I do see of Kamala Harris. And it's just sad. But I want you to see, we put together some clips during his rally that he had, his closing argument, who he will be as president. I want you to see how he brought in a comedian to say out loud, to send all the dog whistles so that everybody know the train is coming. No one should be left behind who's a part of the pure race, as they would tend to believe it. He's already said we're dirtying the blood and we're doing all the other stuff. But I want you to hear this comedian. He talks about every minority group, Jews. He talks about African Americans. He talks about Latinos. He calls them, and his way of being disrespectful, just outright saying Puerto Ricans. He talks about just everybody, Muslims. It doesn't matter. He hits everyone except white people. That's what I want you to catch. He sends out a text saying, I offended everybody except white people. Let's take a look at all these clips.
It's absolutely wild to see. And in Texas, stuff is really, really crazy. We're right there by a wide open border. Where are my proud Latinos at tonight? You guys see what I mean? It's wide open. There's so many of them. It's absolutely incredible. Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. Republicans are the party with a good sense of humor. You know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup. There's some people here. All right. Very good. That's cool. Black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that? A lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys are, this is a groany little morning crowd, huh? It's tough to follow this audition for the next Commissioner Gordon's over here. When it comes to Israel and Palestine, we're all thinking the same thing. Settle your stuff already. Best out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. You know the Palestinians are going to throw rock every time. But you also know the Jews have a hard time throwing that paper. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're having fun now. We're cooking. It's true. Trump survived an assassination attempt and Biden got COVID. We vote next week. God voted 3 months ago.
And the Republican Party has really become the party of inclusion, and that's something very nice about that.
And we're back. I wanted you to see just a comedian and these things that are said out loud, and it's nothing funny. It's nothing funny when you're making fun of marginalized people. Puerto Ricans have been a part of our country for many, 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 many years, and they have been treated horribly. And for him to open up with 2 lines from open borders and they like to have babies, and I don't want to say some of the things that he said, is just outright disrespectful. He talks about how the Puerto Ricans, they're like, it's like a floating island. And that floating island out there is somewhat, as they call it, he called them like trash, like Trump almost called them that same thing. At some point, and I'm glad to hear that the Puerto Rican community, especially its leadership who are bipartisan, are deciding to send out notifications, do not vote for Trump. We can't let them just make fun of us. And for the 5% of African-American men who feel like, you know what, I'm going to vote for Trump because I'm angry because of something else, you have to watch what you do. Sitting on the couch is not the answer. Saying I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris because she has nothing to offer me. Well, what does Trump have to offer you? Well, when he was in the White House, we had more. No, you didn't. This man did so many things to us, even with COVID. And people fail to remember how he treated even the Puerto Ricans when he went over it, when they had that storm and they're throwing toilet paper at them. You have to stop believing that you're going to come to his house or go over to one of his mansions or one of his hotels and be his special guest. Stop expecting from others what you don't expect from yourself. I'm really appalled. When this guy, whoever he is, start talking about the Jews and the Palestinians, I'm like, and what? I mean, what are we doing here? This was Trump's closing argument. We must hold him to it. Kamala Harris did a phenomenal job with her closing argument. She showed us a path forward, not some dark dog whistling so that the minorities in this country can be suppressed and oppressed. I just think it's really sad. And I wanted to make sure, many of you have already seen these clips, but I wanted to add to them. This comedian said out loud what a lot of the Republicans, especially Donald Trump, is thinking privately, planning privately, and will produce if given another chance to get in the White House. I've never seen so many people riding around in cars with Trump flags, people putting up big billboards with Trump on it, and Vance. At some point, he already snuck in once. Let's not go to sleep and then cry foul if he gets in again. I don't care what the data is saying. He has a hidden community who are supporting him, who don't answer their phone when they are calling to see who you're going to vote for and when they're doing their surveys. We need to make sure that we move forward and not support such craziness. Because if you think it's crazy, the first round he did, without nobody there to tell him to slow down, to stop, it's going to be 10 times worse. But it didn't stop there. Trump also did some crazy stuff. We're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, I want to set the tone so you can hear and see some of the clips of the craziness that he shared out of his mouth as the candidate, because they're saying that was the comedian. His job was to make us laugh. No, his job was to, I remember we had a deacon here named Deacon Jones, Old Man Jones, I used to call him. He said, you can't have us laughing and then signing documents to take our whole life away. Nothing's funny right now. This is serious. To bring a comedian in to say what you really feel and to send out all the dog whistles is totally inappropriate. And it's not right. And I think all of us who are in Delaware, while we believe without a shadow of a doubt that Kamala Harris will get our state, we need to be calling our loved ones, our friends who are living in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania, rather, who live in these red states, and saying to them, do not vote for this man. Do not sit on the couch and sit this one out. We have a lot of family members down in North Carolina. We have to go and tell them, listen, you need to vote because it is serious. And what will happen to us will make it even worse. And then we're going to be calling foul. We're going to be asking the NAACP, please help us. We're going to be asking all of those groups who traditionally support the oppressed. We're going to be overwhelming them all because we chose to sit on the couch. Get on the phone and call somebody. Call 10 people who are out of this state, who are in other states. Go vote. Your vote matters. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back with Trump's comments. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Kobe Owens, and I'm running for the Democratic nomination for the City Council 1st District right here in Wilmington. I am running on a platform of addressing our affordable housing crisis, making sure we're helping both homeowners and renters both live in this city, live in safe and affordable housing. I'm running on a platform to address affordable housing, but also looking at quality of life issues, making sure that our street signs are up, our streets are fit, our sidewalks aren't cracked, and making sure our communities are safer for everyone. And lastly, I am running on a sustainable development and economic growth platform, one that makes sure we're investing into our neighborhoods, and our best investment that we can make is investing into our youth, making sure that we are preparing them for our future, and then lastly, expanding senior programming to make sure that they continue to age in place right here in the 1st District, in the city of Wilmington. I'm doing this for y'all. Vote for Kobe Owens.
Hi, I'm State Senator Sarah McBride, the Democratic nominee for Delaware's open congressional seat. Too many people think government does not respect them. I try to do things differently. That's why I brought Democrats and Republicans together in Delaware to pass paid family and medical leave, because guaranteeing that families have support respects families. It's why I help champion a livable wage, because respecting workers means they earn a decent wage. And it's why in Congress I will always defend Social Security and Medicare, because I respect that these are benefits that seniors have earned. I'm running for Congress to build a government that sees and respects all of us. I hope to earn your vote in this campaign.
Local news and politics in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. The latest headlines with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry.
But they get rich, getting new cars, getting new houses, getting new opportunities, but the community is still getting nothing.
And co-host, Kobe Owens.
And from that time, we have slowly seen our democracy become under attack.
Weekly episodes. Sundays at 5 p.m. The Source. Join us live for our weekly worship. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube.
I'm doing the best I can, but I still gotta have a little Chardonnay, and I still gotta have a little this, and I gotta still sneak around. The devil is a liar. That's an excuse.
Wilmington's most exciting church.
Hey, boss. Okay.
I said I'm fine.
With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it, and we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
You have a 1 in 14 million chance
of winning the lottery,
1 in 13 million chance of becoming an astronaut,
but 1 in 9 women will develop breast cancer.
Over 9,000 women in Ontario
will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year.
Early detection is so important.
Women over 50 should have a breast screening mammogram every 2 years.
Women over 30 who are
high risk should speak to their doctor about early screening.
Put the odds in your favor.
Speak to your healthcare provider today.
And we're back. I want to now focus your attention on Donald Trump, because some people believe that Donald Trump didn't say the things that the comedian said. So therefore, why are we holding him accountable? One, the comedian was on those stands that you got to put your speech in. They could have cut all that stuff out, but they kept it in. He's responsible for what is being said at his rallies, because in those, I forgot what you call those teleprompters, they are loaded in based on, and they are approved by the campaign. So everything that was said, he approved it. But let me give you some of his words, because he's talking about cheating. He's sending all these subliminal messages. He's calling Kamala Harris dumb. He's calling her, incompetent. He's talking about how she's going to throw us into World War III, scaring people, making sure that the dark side of life, saying your children are going to wind up having been drafted. All of these things scare people so that they could vote for him. But at the end of the day, nothing is more scarier than he being the president. Just look at how he disrespects her, women, our country, and people who are not of his kind. Look at these clips.
We came in first in 50 primaries. We then had a great election that we won. We then had another great election that we did a hell of a lot better in, and bad things happen. We're not going to let that happen. COVID. They used COVID to cheat. But we then had an election, but now we have the election of, this will be, in my opinion, I have to say if, because, there's always risks, I guess. But if we pull this off, this will be the biggest political event in the history of our country. I will also restore our borders. There's never been anything like it. It's bigger than inflation. It's bigger than the economy. What they're doing to our country, they're allowing criminals from all over the world to enter our country. Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon our people. She has violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens. There has never been anything like it anywhere in the world for any country. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions from all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo. A lot of people are coming from the Congo prisons. They're coming from all over the world. Over the last month, 181 countries violated our laws. And she has resettled them into your communities to prey upon innocent American citizens. But the day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion of our country ends and the restoration of our country begins. One of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gangs that Kamala has imported into our country is the savage Venezuelan prison gang. Nice group of people. They got together in prison, the worst prison in the world, they say. It's called Tren de Aragua. And that is taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent killing spree all over America, especially in Aurora, Colorado, where we have a governor who's petrified of them, and maybe he should be. But now they've even taken over Times Square. Take a look. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. Not going to be happening. Not going to be happening. November 5th, 2024, 9 days from now, will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation Day. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history to get the criminals out. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered, and we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail. We're going to kick them the hell out of our country as fast as possible. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs like MS-13, which is equally vicious, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. That's how far back. That's when they had law and order. They had some tough ones. Think of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. You hear that, Mr. Speaker? Get ready. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And there are lots of them. We don't have the same country anymore. You know that. And when you look at the polls and they say about the economy and they have all these different things, the worst nightmare that we're facing is what they've done to us on our borders. We had the safest border in the world. In fact, there's a chart, which I hope they have, because I didn't tell them I wanted it, but there's a chart that I love very much because I wouldn't be here without it. But she would get us into World War III because she's incompetent, can't do the job, unfit for it, and then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting a little notice. They'll say, Mom, Dad, what is this little green piece of paper? Ay, 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 darling, that's a draft notice. They're drafting you to go and fight in some country that I've never heard of this country before. Oh no, I don't want my baby to fight. I don't want my baby to be killed. What they did in Afghanistan with those 13 great soldiers, I've gotten to know the parents so well, and leaving all of that equipment behind and leaving Americans behind, and many, many people with no legs and no arms, all because of incompetent people. But we don't want your sons and daughters to get a little draft notice, explain to them what it means. We're tired of fighting. I'm the only president in the last 84 years that didn't start a war. Remember Crooked Hillary?
What a shame, what a shame, what a shame. This man, a grown man, almost 80 years old, but when you are a dictator, when you want to make sure that you get all the power, this is what happens. He's a narcissist. And we cannot forget that. This man says that she's incompetent, says that she's dumb, says that she's basically low-lifed. And I'm going to tell you why he says that. Because she went to the best schools. Yes, she's a Howard University graduate, but it didn't just stop. And Howard is one of the top HBCUs in our country, produced some of the best lawyers like Thurgood Marshall and many others, the first Supreme Justice Court Justice. So I'm not challenging her IQ because her IQ is very strong. But for him to talk like this, it speaks to how he is very much not only racist, but he's sexist. Not only is he sexist, but it's like he brings his wife up and talks about what a wonderful book she wrote, and then brings up Vance's wife, what a great job, what a great lawyer she is, and went to Yale. See, those are signals to say wherever we go is less than, but where the people that he wants to elevate go is very, very powerful. But what he failed to tell you all is both of the wives, his wife and Vance's wife, are both foreigners, but they are from, quote unquote, the right countries. This is a disgrace. He done had either disrespected the Puerto Ricans, he done disrespected African Americans, he done disrespected every Jews, he disrespected the everybody. But he has a certain clique, and it's called the elite, those who have the money. These are the people he's trying to preserve. Elon Musk is not supporting him to the level that he's supporting him because he thinks Trump will be a great president. And it's a disgrace that Kamala have to prove herself to the level that she has to prove herself. This man is going to destroy America as never before, as no other president would be able to get away with the things that he's going to get away with. Shame on you if you're going to sit on the couch. Shame on you if you are not registered to vote. Because it's going to be too late once he gets in. And I wanted to ring and sound the alarm that we can't play this game. I predicted that Kamala is going to win. And I stand on that. But I want you to be able, for those few people, I want her not just to win, but I want her to win in a landslide. I want her to win so huge that he cannot put out his conspiracy theories that they cheated. As a matter of fact, it's interesting how the comedian said earlier how God voted several months ago when Donald Trump didn't get killed with the bullet, basically. I guess that's what he was alluding to. Truth of the matter is, God's permissive will permit things to happen and for things not to happen so that maybe Trump can see the truth. He loses by so much that he can finally submit to truth. But he's putting us in a dark place. He says Kamala is just outright dumb, outright incompetent. She was the Attorney General of the largest state in the country, but she's just incompetent grossly. She went to some of the best schools, but none of that matter because she's a minority. And that's what I want to make sure that you who are part of the Latino community, those of you who are part of the African American community, those of you who are part of the European community. Dr. King said something. He said the only thing for evil to continue is for good people to do nothing and say nothing. I'm not against, there's many, many, many great, wonderful European individuals who I am in relationship with, who I know, who do the right thing. But what I get upset about is when we sit back and we permit, I take my hat off to a Liz Cheney. Whoever thought that Dick Cheney would ever support a Democrat? But he is supporting her because he has decided we're not going to play this game. If the Republicans allow Trump to get into office, it will destroy the Republican Party. It will destroy our democracy, because at the end of the day, we need two functioning parties in order for democracy to prevail. We don't want too much going on the left. We don't want too much going on the right. We need to rock steady in the middle. And that's why I think that this is very dangerous and why you have to vote. I want you to watch something. He calls Kamala, he calls Kamala slow. She got no faculties. She's outright dumb. He makes the comment in this next clip, and then she responds. She goes on to Fox News, goes into a very, very hostile environment, and she shows you how smart she is. Watch this.
Kamala's gross incompetence disqualifies her from being president of the United States of America. She is grossly incompetent. All you have to do is look at her interviews, look at what she did the other night on fake news, CNN. Just take a look. She couldn't answer a question. She's unfit for office. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. Everyone knows she is a very low IQ individual. From humiliating our country in Afghanistan to the war in Ukraine, to the nightmare on our border, to her inflation catastrophe, all done in conjunction with Sleepy Joe. But he was largely sleeping, wasn't he? After 4 o'clock, it's time to go to bed. To his and her egregious hurricane response, the worst response in North Carolina and other states since Katrina, but I think it was even worse than Katrina. They haven't even responded in North Carolina. They haven't even responded. There's nobody. They don't see any FEMA. You know why? They spent their money on bringing in illegal migrants, so they didn't have money for Georgia and North Carolina and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida and South Carolina. They didn't have any money for them. They spent all of their money on bringing in illegal immigrants and flying them in by beautiful jet planes. They flew in. We just found that about a year and a half ago. Remember, we said, what's going on? Those planes, a lot of planes going over there. What are they? They would fly them into the middle of our country, our beautiful, beautiful country. And you know what happened? You take a look at Springfield, Ohio. Think of this. Where 30,000 illegal migrants were put into a town of 50,000 people. No place can withstand that. Or take a look at Aurora in Colorado. Colorado is going to vote for us. You know why? Typically, they go a little bit the other way. Of course, with their voting system, I'm not so sure about that. But you know why? Because they tried to throw the leading candidate of both parties, meaning me. I was leading both parties off the ballot. And the people of Colorado, including Democrats, are very angry about it. They are a threat to democracy, to use their term.
When you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath the first bill that we offered Congress before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the...
Finish?
Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and they
in the
didn't bring
middle
up
of
that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing it. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
And we're back. I hope that you've been following how egregious the behavior of Donald Trump has been, is, and will certainly continue if given an opportunity to go into the White House. There's a segment I wanted to separate out, and that's that enemy within. People have asked me when I was in Dunkin' Donuts and other places, what do you think he means by that? That is dog whistle language as well, to tell Americans, those who would vote, that the issue is not with the wars that we're fighting, but the issue is with the people who are within America. That's dangerous. How dare he use an African-American man who we don't know the outcome. He has been indicted for illegal doing, but then he blames that on the Democrats because Eric Adams allegedly spoke out against Biden's administration. So he tries to use that to say, see, it doesn't just happen to me, but it happens to even Democrats who speak out. That's not true. He tries to talk about the election and how he won the last one, and because of COVID is why he even lost it. Not fair. Not fair. He lost the election because the people voted and fired him. He didn't take his own words when he was on The Apprentice when he said, "You're fired." Well, the people said you're fired. And if he would have won, why would he be calling all of these states saying we need this amount of votes, that amount of votes, this amount of votes? This guy I was getting ready to say he don't know what he's doing, but he does know what he's doing. When he talks about the enemy of the state, with an enemy within, he's really saying that I need to get the people brainwashed to a level where the people understand I am not their enemy, but all these other people, those who have been mistreated by government, especially African-American men. Remember, the only thing he can identify you with is that he got a mug shot done. He knows how to utilize the press. He knows how to utilize media in order to get his agenda across. That's why he's using Brother Eric Adams as a part of his new conversation. And then he's very clear about the Democratic Party being the enemy within. And the press, not Fox News. They are the ones enlightened. But CNN and all those individuals who are part of the liberal press, they're the enemies. They're fake news. This is what he says because he has to brainwash the people. And the sad reality is he has brainwashed a lot of people. It is so sad to see what happened to Rudy Giuliani. He was one of the greatest mayors to ever live. He got us through 9/11. He really was able to crack down on crime. And he did some things that liberals did not like the stop and frisk and things of that nature. Although some of that stuff I kind of agreed with. But at the end of the day, look at what he has reduced that man to. That man now, after going through his lies and all the things that he did, that man basically, Rudy Giuliani is just, he's nothing anymore. But Donald Trump still got all of his money. Donald Trump is still on top because he knew how to brainwash people to believe and fight for him. I want you to look at these clips so that you can see as he's talking about the enemy within and look at the psychological part of how he's using it. It's unbelievable. You can't even believe it yourself, but people are buying it and they're repeating these words. Watch this.
So she lied about McDonald's. She lied about everything. She's got ads on saying Donald Trump is this, he's going to do this, he's going to do. It's the exact opposite what my policies are. She's got me doing this. He doesn't want to frack. No, I'm all for fracking. And I have been for one thing. I have been, even the enemy, because they are the enemy, what they've said, even that enemy too, and they're really the enemy. They're the enemy of the people, the press. They said one thing about me that I consider a great compliment. They said, this guy is the most consistent person we've ever seen. Thank Mayor Adams, because Mayor Adams has been treated pretty badly. You know, when he said that this whole thing with the migrants coming into New York, this is just not sustainable. You know, we can't do it. We're trying to run a city. We got 100,000 migrants coming. We can't do it. It just can't do it. It's not feasible. It's not good. He said it very nicely. I said, well, he's going to be indicted by these lunatics for saying that. A year later, he got indicted. I think they upgraded his seat in an airplane. That's a very serious charge. They've upgraded my seat a lot, too. I used to fly commercial. I don't fly it so much anymore. But they'd see me back there and, sure, would you like an upgrade? I don't know. Maybe it's something else. But I have to tell you, he's been really great. And he said that they shouldn't be calling Trump a dictator because it's not true. That's nice. That was nice. Very nice. So we want to thank Mayor Adams. He's going through a hard time with these people. These are lunatics, by the way. They've weaponized the Justice Department against their political opponent. I am under investigation more than the great, late Alphonse Capone.
I think he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
on plans for the American people, I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker, would ignite inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you?
Who has time to get a mammogram? I get it. You're busy. There's work. There are kids or grandkids to look after. You have so many things to take care of. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm joining Lifetime to ask you to take a moment to put your health first. Get your mammogram. It might save your life, and nothing on your to-do list is more important than that.
Smiles are powerful. A simple smile can light up a whole room. And for 25 years, Smile Train has been lighting up the world with smiles. And each smile marks a step towards a brighter future. As the world's largest cleft lip and palate charity, Smile Train has supported more than 2 million life-changing cleft surgeries in over 90 countries, leaving a legacy of resilience, joy, and beaming smiles for generations of children. To learn more about cleft lips and palates and how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community all over the world, please visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, lighting up the world with smiles for 25 years.
One more time before you wake up in the wild. In your eyes, I see a flower slowly dying.
Together with the Nature Conservancy, you have the power to make a difference. For unspoiled nature, for beautiful wildlife, and for people everywhere. Together, we can find a way to ensure that all life on Earth can thrive.
Oh, in the wild, you're gonna make it. The moonlight is here to take you.
Our natural world needs us now. Every day, we lose more lands, waters, and the wild species that depend on them. To learn more, visit nature.org today.
Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near-fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these two hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, go to helpheart.org.
Not today.
I'm here. You can tell me anything.
I see you. We're in this together.
Breakthroughs are happening.
Treatments are evolving.
The stats can change.
Society can change.
We can all say, not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today. Not today.
If we're together, bound to be better. When we're together, together.
It's good to see you. It's so great to be with everyone again.
Yeah, it is.
How have you been?
I'm not good. I haven't been good. The truth is, for a while now, I feel like I've been stuck in a dark place. I can't remember feeling happy. No one really hears me, you know? I'm good. Yeah, things are good.
That's good.
The world looks a whole lot different depending on where you stand.
Sure does.
From growing up in Wilmington to serving as a diplomat in a country devastated by war, starting 2 small businesses that created jobs, and teaching middle school math in neighborhoods that are too often overlooked and left behind. I'm Matt Meyer, and no matter where I stood, if something was broken, I've always tried to make it better. So when the insider said I had no shot against a 12-year incumbent, I ran for Newcastle County Executive anyway.
Gotta love an underdog.
Knocking on nearly 10,000 doors because our county looks different depending on where you stand, too.
Hey, Mr. Meyer, in our classroom, you always made us show our work.
We put the county checkbook online in the first 6 months to show where your tax dollars are going. We are making our county cleaner and greener, investing in early childhood and mental health services. Started 1,000 kids coding to give low-income students high-income skills. And we created the Hope Center, helping thousands of people get off the streets and into homes. Now, as too many families struggle with the rising costs of housing and healthcare, too many communities go without clean air and clean water. And our schools rank 46th in the nation. I know we can do better, because we should be a state where every kid gets a great education, where every family has a safe neighborhood they can afford to call home, and every woman makes decisions about her own body.
You got that right.
I'm Matt Meyer, and I'm running for governor so that no matter where you stand, we can all see a brighter future.
Don't forget the website.
I hope that you enjoyed our show today, and not enjoyed it in a way where it was entertainment, but I hope you enjoyed our show today and that it was enlightening, because we're in a serious situation. Donald Trump said that on November 5th, it will be Liberation Day. He's going to try, if he gets his way, to enact several laws that didn't happen over 100 years, but it's not going to be a Liberation Day for those of us who have been marginalized if he gets in. Kamala Harris may not be perfect in all that she has done. Some of her positions I did not agree with, because I am more of an independent person. I'm not really Democrat. I'm not really Republican. I'm in the middle. So there are things that Democrats do I do not agree with all the time. There are things that Republicans do, some of the things I agree with. I am in the middle. But let me just be honest with you. Donald Trump is not a part of anybody's party. He's not a Republican. His whole life he was a Democrat. His whole life he believed in abortion. His whole life he believed in gay rights. But then all of a sudden he had to find out, what party can I overtake and become their lord? He got those who were evangelicals to buy into him because he started talking about, I'm not against abortion. I'm against it. And I think that is inhumane. And he got them to buy into him. So then he started talking a whole lot of things about God. A man who has never prayed before, he said that out loud. A man who's never asked for forgiveness before, he said that out loud. How are the evangelicals supporting him to the level that they're supporting him? Why? Because he's pushing their agenda. You have so many people, the KKK and others, the Duke guy. All of these people are endorsing and embracing him because he's giving the silent whistles that if I can get in one more time, I can make what happened in Virginia almost a countrywide event. Let us not be wearied in our well-doing. November the 5th is going to be election day. Now, many of us have already voted. Many of us have, and for those of you who live in Delaware, you got to call your relatives in North Carolina. You have to call your relatives in Pennsylvania. You have to call your relatives in Florida. Because what he just did with the Puerto Ricans, I believe it's going to backfire. You got to call your relatives in all of these states, in Michigan, Detroit. And you got to tell them it's time to vote. It's time to vote. And speaking of North Carolina, my Aunt Jenny, thank you for the shirt that I'm wearing today. She's in North Carolina. We were down there just a few weeks ago and she loved the show. And I want to take this moment to say thank you for giving me my Coffee with Curry shirt. But as I said to you all while I was down there, vote. Vote. Don't split this ticket. Vote. I want everybody voting. November the 5th, if you have not already voted, vote. Vote as if your life depended on it. Because we need to make sure that she doesn't just win, but she win in such a victory, such a landslide, that there is no questions to be asked, and we can see Trump for the buffoonery that he is, for the joke that he is, for the disgracefulness of a person that he is. He has hurt so many people. So many people are in jail today because they believed in him. Those of us who have gone to seminary, we've had our privilege of studying cults. This man has the anointing to be able to pull people in to a lie and take over their minds and have them repeating what is a lie. This movement, not all Republicans, not all white people, not all black people, whoever is a part of his movement, they're not bad people. They've been pulled into a cult. How do you kill a cult? You do it by destroying its leader. I'm not advocating physical violence, but I am advocating that you vote on November 5th, 2 days from now. Vote. Because if you vote, you would have been the one who slew Goliath. Not with a gun, not with a knife, but with the power of your vote. Make sure you vote. Call your relatives. Delaware, we believe we're going to be with Kamala. We are a blue state. Pennsylvania is a swing state. Michigan is a swing state. North Carolina is a swing state. Georgia is a swing state. Let us take those states. Call our relatives. Go vote. Go vote. Get somebody else to vote. Make sure we're voting so that on November 5th, my prediction will be right. We'll have a clear-cut winner who won the presidency of the United States of America because they got a plan. If we can keep it from being announced who's the winner for several days, we can put the conspiracies in where this happened, that happened, this is cheating. Do you see all the voting boxes that are being burnt up? I'm sorry to keep talking, but all this stuff is in me. It's angering me because they have been pulled into a cult. That is a federal crime. If the people are caught, and I hope they are, they will go to jail for a federal offense. All over a man who just will not concede to defeat because he's a narcissist. And you cannot let this continue. Please vote. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I'll be back next week with a brighter day. I think we're going to have Coach Waterman will be with us. So it'll be a better show. I won't be so animated. I won't be so whatever I am right now. But I need you to vote. I need you to vote. And I need you to vote. Till the next time, may the Lord God bless you real good.
Thank you for watching this episode of Coffee with Curry. Tune in next week, Sunday at 11 a.m.